All right, how's it going, guys? tmanplays here, and we got a bit of an update video. Gonna go over the patch notes. The NDA just dropped for the Do Rhine Division and 17th Guards, so we're gonna get into those first. We're gonna go through the patch notes, though. So let's go ahead and talk about some general fixes first. Um, the Special Forces veterancy was fixed for some units. I know this was mainly. Um, it wasn't these guys. It was I believe the recon version. Um, which one was it? Oh yeah, it was the 45.1s. You can now see that they have the same, uh, accuracy and everything. The curves all correct. And the other one I know it was for sure affecting was the crap and uh, the sixth French division here. We can see that the veterancy curve has been fixed for this as well in terms of the accuracy and all that. So now it has the correct special forces stat, which is nice. So that's one of the changes. The Tulipin, gotta select this. Tulipin. I also got to get off the infantry tab. Don't worry, we're learning. The Tulipin. The model has been fixed. So now it should fire correctly like this whenever you fire it, position it, instead of, looking weird and not being correct whenever you zoom in. So that's been changed. Another change is that drones actually got a huge change. The speed on drones came down a lot. So it was 800 kilometers an hour before. Now it's toned down to 500 kilometers. And then if we just look at like the Belgians here, their drone, which is like the standard for the other ones, are all at 200 kilometers an hour, which I still believe these are the same. But the fast drones got changed to be 500 kilometers now instead of 800. So that's a pretty big change when it comes to drone usage. AA and ATGM launchers should no longer self-destruct or kill nearby ally units. So that's a nice change. They fixed the Zwillinger model. Not sure what was wrong with it before, but whatever was wrong with it before has been fixed. And now just getting on to the basic balance changes. We'll start with the US. Let's go ahead and select all our US divisions here. So the M1IP got actually price buffed. Instead of 240 points now, this is 230 points. So nice 10-point decrease there. The Apache rocket has come down in price from 180 points to 165. So nice buff there for 3rd, 82nd, and 101st. Maybe consider taking the Apache rocket now that it costs 15 less points. See if that gets used a little bit more. The Chinook that carries Special Forces imp, like your Green Beret ODA and the ODA leader and all that, has come down by 5 points from 65 to 60. Huey prices have come down by 5 points from 40 points to 35 points. The Blackhawk has come down from 60 points to 50 points. So that's a nice change, considering you can transport a lot of infantry in this. So that buffs a lot of capabilities, especially for like 101st. Your Cav scout units, like your, what are they called? The arrow rifles that you can bring in the Blackhawks and whatnot. So that'll be nice. Now there's actually a choice between this and the regular Chinook. Do you want the 10 strength 10 ECM, or do you want the 8 strength 10 ECM with some firepower and the speed also being the same? So not really a choice there, but gives you a choice. The A60 Intruder has gone up in price from 190 to 230. Not really sure about that one. I don't think this plane is that good, so not sure why this got price increased, but you know, it is what it is. Cool change like for 101st is that the let's see, we'll just have to look them up. The Green Beret ODA, they got their availability increased from 3 to 4. So now you can take 4 of these guys. So that's really nice. Machine gun teams, like your 12 or your 50 cal teams, they got their speed increased from 9 to 18. So that's pretty cool. The M119. There we go. The M119 got its price decreased from 75 to 65 points. So a bit of a buff there for the 105 artillery. The MP Humvees. Let's see. Got price decreased to 25 points. They used to be 35 points. So that's a nice buff for your military police squads. They can now come in a cheaper MP vehicle, which, yeah, this at 35 was really crazy. So nice to see that finally got changed. The Avengers got a price buff by 10 points. So this used to be 105 points. And the forward deploy one used to be 110. Now it's just 195, respectively. So nice buff there. Let's see. And then I believe that is all. The only other change is that the Seaweed got added an M151 for a transport and a Recon M15 1A2, and they removed the M35. So that's the only other change here. I believe that's for 35th US specifically, that transport option is has been added and taken out. So to move on to the United Kingdom, not a lot of changes here, but the UK basically just got the Warrior applique, I guess. Price increased from 60 to 65 points. So there's your new UK nerf. And the Gazelles, the Gazelle rockets, I believe. No, not the Gazelle rockets. This one, the Gazelle LB1. Yeah, this is a transport helicopter. Okay, this price got decreased from 35 to 30. So whatever you could take in this Gazelle, you can now take it 5 points cheaper. So there's your one nerf and your one buff for the UK. Now moving on to the Deutschland. Let's see. Let's go ahead and select them up. So we got a few changes here. The UH-1D got price decrease from 40 to 35 points. This is nice because it's a 6 hit point helicopter. So 5 point buff there. We already talked about the drone, but the drone has less speed now, from 800 to 500 kilometers an hour. Let's see, the Recon. This is going to be difficult to find, so I'm just going to look for it this way, because I have no idea how to say this. Scharfschütze. The Special Forces trait. No, never mind. I read that wrong. Okay, that did not get changed. So yeah, no change here. Disregard that. The M109G. Let's see. This RD piece has had its reload time increased from 53 to 62 seconds. And it also got a smoke launcher added to it. Very interesting. And then the Unimogs. Unimog S4, yeah, FK2. No, this one. Yes, this guy. Okay, so the AA Unimog has had its base availability increased from 6 to 9 in the Luflin division. So there you go. This guy got a little bit more availability to help out your AA situation. And another cool change, which we'll have to hop into the specific division for, which I guess, I can go ahead and show. There's that 9 avail now. But a cool change is your fighters now have an extra level of veterancy. So, you get more accurate missiles there. You can even take one all the way max fit if you want. Just do double that way. But yeah, this should help out, your air control a little bit better, getting that extra level of veterancy for free now, because it also gives you, a little bit more on the evasive maneuvers, your stress resistance, so you don't have to worry about really getting routed. You can close the distance. So we'll see how much that helps. But that I believe that should help the Luflin quite a bit there. We'll go into TKS now for some specific changes with them. They got quite a few. The Milan 2, if we can find it here, has had a new transport option added, which is the Overland A3. A nice little fast, basically P4 equivalent French vehicle here. So now you can transport them in that. They removed the P4. And then we got, let's see, new unit added with the Overland A3 Milan. And Milan 2 on this thing. A nice little fast vehicle. You can also bring it in a Super Puma to kind of transport around the map if you want to get sneaky with it. But yeah, you can also get 2 cards of that, so that's pretty cool. And then there was a command Overland added as well, which can also be transported in a helicopter. Quite interesting there. So yeah, lots of options here to transport your stuff in helicopters, because you can even, get like the Airmobile and the Super Puma, and then I guess use this to airlift your your CVs and whatnot around the map if you so desire. The other changes, they got another recon unit added with the Aero Eclairs. These are a GSR unit, so now that gives TKS a GSR recon unit. And then you have multiple transport options with that as well, be it a Super Puma, an Overland with a AA and F1, or just a standard transport. But yeah, nothing special. It just gives you a GSR, which is pretty nice. And then we'll move on to the French changes. So for France, there is a command AMX30. Let's see, I believe it is this one. Had its optics decreased to mediocre from normal. And then the AMX30 command, the standard one, which I'm kind of can't see it. I'm blind. Where's the standard AMX30 here? Am I blind? There should be a standard AMX. Oh, it's because Berlin command's not selected. There we go. So yeah, this guy had his optics decreased from normal to mediocre as well. Yeah, so just matches all your other tanks now, optics wise. And then we already talked about the drone, but we'll talk about it again in case the people are skipping through. But your drone speed got reduced for France as well. Only 500 kilometers now instead of the 800. And the Mirage, I can't spell, the Mirage, got price buffed from, I believe this was 230 before. Yeah, it was 230 before. Now it's 210. So the nice buff to, you know, TKS, the 6th French, and then 11 easy. And then your Mirage 2000, which is right here, went from 200 to 185 points now. So nice price buff for this fighter as well. They are fast. It's just the missiles and the loadout isn't great. But, you know, making those fighters a little more efficient for France, I think, is a good thing. And then your AMX 13. The change with this was that the price got increased from 20 to 25 points. That's because it comes in this division as an infantry transport for some units. It's quite widely used, so you know, that got changed to match it with other comparable transports. And then going to specific divisions, go ahead and go to the 60 division. One of the changes here is you now have a 30-point TRM 2000 that you can bring in, which I think will help this division a lot, because it's kind of hard to use with just having the 50-point supply vehicles and like a 45-point Puma to really resupply like your, you know, your P4s and all that, and then your infantry on the front line. You couldn't really like do flanks very well with your low armored AMXs, and you know, supplying Crotals with a 50-point supply vehicle that you kind of have to keep next to these is pretty painful. So that should help a lot. And then they removed the TRM 10,000 logistics, the big boy. So that's been removed in favor of this smaller supply truck, which I think is a good change. A really cool batch of changes is for 11 easy, which we'll get into here. But the recon got changed quite a bit, as you now have some new units in here. So the Hussard Para, which we can, you know, just notice here, we have 6 Appealus rounds. I believe this is the first unit with 6 Appealus rounds, but not sure if that's going to stay. This all is, you know, a work in progress, not the release version. So maybe this gets changed back to 4. But for now, this is a very nice recon, and like, you know, flank this guy around the edge, and you know, find a supply road or something, and you can you know, shut down that road pretty nicely. It's also just a good recon squad in general. It's very similar to like the Legionnaire Paras and all that, but they just have 2 less strength. So that's pretty cool. The recon Para Clairs or Clairs got their like cards reduced from 2 to 1, so now you can only bring 1 card of these guys. But you know, get them in a nice recon P4. The other change is that let's see, I believe this is a changed arty piece. Maybe the name just changed, but something changed with this. Avail's still 4-2, which is sad. I'd like the 4-3 Avail. Hopefully we can bring that back one day. But you know, that's one change. We already saw the change in the last patch where 11 he also got the RYX. Now they have, you know, a bit of a cheaper fighter situation. So they got quite a bit of buffs. But yeah, the new recon unit, you know, you can now have Paras SAS and Hussard's Paras as a pretty scary opener with a Euro C90 and you know, maybe a Gazelle cannon thrown in there with your cheap fighters as cover, so you can maybe make levity work a little bit better. So that's all the changes for that. For 152, the only change is very minor. but we'll just talk about it anyways. The gendarmes, these guys got added this military police vehicle. So there you go. You got a nice little French blue van now. Nice little military police van that you can bring your military police in. So cool. For the Netherlands, small change. The M114. This guy has gone from 90 points to 95 points. So a bit of a nerf. This artillery was a little too efficient for 4E. So that got price nerfed by 5 points. For Canada, got quite a bit of changes here. The Cougar price was decreased from 50 to 45. So they made the Cougar just a little bit more efficient, and they also took out the bad stealth and replaced it with medium stealth. So this guy's going to be like a, scary flanking unit now that you got to really look out for. We'll have to see how that plays out because Canada's already pretty strong. Now that they get the mediocre stealth Cougar that can just kind of, peruse the side flanks, that can be a little scary. So we'll have to see what happens there. The Recon Cougar also got price buffed from 55 to 50 points. This already had the mediocre stealth, so nothing really else changed there besides the price. The helicopter with the AT rockets got price increased by 25 points. It used to be 100 points. Now this is 125, which I think is a great change because, yeah, this is a very strong helicopter. I'd honestly say it's even better than the Tow Cobra, just because if you come up against a BMP-2, like this thing can kill it in like 10 rockets. So it's very good. It also kills very efficiently from the side. And yeah, very, very strong helicopter. You also get one more veiled over a Tow Cobra. So yeah, I'm taking this hands down every time. The drone, we'll go over it again for those of you skipping through. The drone speed has been changed. No longer 800, it's now 500. Oh yeah, the big other change with the drone, which I forgot to mention earlier, but I'll mention it now, is the evasion also came down. I'm not sure exactly what value it is, if it came down all the way to 0% ECM now, or if it always said 0% ECM, but they did change the evasion of the drones, so now they should be a lot easier to shoot down. So we'll have to see how that works. Other big changes for Canada is that really efficient air tab is no longer as efficient. Still is pretty nice though, but like the cluster, for instance, went from 265 to 280 points now. The HE went from 265 to 275. And the only thing that I'm not happy with is that this AT plane still remains at 225 points, which I think this is a pretty cheesy unit. You can use it on an opener with a recon helicopter or like a drone and just absolutely destroy your opponent's opener, especially like their light transport vehicles. It's very easy to get gun runs on, opponent's openers with this thing, and it's very, very strong. So, very much against that change, but this stays the same, hopefully for now. Maybe it'll get changed in the future. Have to see. The ITO goes up to 5 avail. Used to be 4 in the last build. The 155 got reduced, or got increased from 90 to 95, just like the Dutch RD piece. It shares the same values pretty much. So those are on the same price level now. And then the blowpipe, I believe, yeah, this blowpipe vehicle speed went from 50 to 60 kilometers an hour, so a little bit faster there on the CUCV. And that's all your changes for Canada. So now let's go through the changes for Spain. So let's find Brunette. And our first change is The HR-15 got its speed decreased from 215 kilometers an hour to 195. So a little bit slower now on the helicopters. The HU-10, which I'm not actually sure what that is. So let's just search it up. Oh, okay, the Huey. The HU-10 price got decreased from 40 to 35. So just like the other helicopter and Hueys that we were looking at, this got cheaper by 5 points to bring that infantry in 5 points cheaper. The C-15, we'll go back into the division. C-15 got increased from 255 to 265, the AT plane. Really, really good AT plane. So that's 10 points more expensive now. Let's see, the BRM PM81. BRM. Why is it not pulling up? Or BMR. Okay. The MRPM 81. This guy got his smoke launcher added. So there you go. This guy can smoke now. Not sure entirely how that works on artillery vehicles or if it's just kind of a cosmetic thing. But anyways, this guy got a smoke launcher. The sad thing is the TOW. Actually, no, the TOW does have a smoke launcher. I'm mistaken. I'm thinking of the Mephisto for France, which doesn't have a smoke launcher. That's the only one I'm sad about that I wish would get a smoke launcher. Other than that, we got a lot of renamed units. SOUTHAG, let's see. The really efficient grenade launcher vehicle for the Spanish machine gunner squad has gone up from 25 to 30 points because it has the grenade launcher. The AA got renamed the Speedy Toledo. Cool name change, I guess. But yeah, a lot of name changes. Nothing really value oriented from here on out. So we'll leave it there with Spain, and we'll start going to the back forces. So moving on to pack. Unselect all our Soviet divs here. I believe this has some Soviet units in it. So yeah, our BMP-1 got price increased from 25 to 30 points. So now this is a little bit less efficient. It was extremely cheap at 25 points. So now you got to pay 5 more points for that. The command T-55 got increased from 145 to 165 points. So this is a lot more expensive now. Only affects 157th though. And then the Mi-24 Descent got its price decreased from 120 to 115. So continuing the trend with all those transport helicopters coming down by 5 points, make them a little bit more viable. The Recon Mi-8 MTP, I believe it's this guy, got the SIGINT trait added. Or no, no. I think it already had the SIGINT trait. But its price got increased from 80 to 90 to match the one in 101st, the Black Hawk one. I'm struggling on the name right now. I can't remember the name of it, but now, now I gotta look for it. But anyways, the price got you know, the same as that now. Oh my gosh. What is the name of this? Oh, the quick fix. There you go. All right, quick fix. That was gonna drive me crazy. But yeah, so now all those helicopters are 90 points now that have those like 40% ECM SIGINT and the jammer trait. And the other change is the Mi-8 rockets. We'll just find one. The Mi-8 rocket basically got price decrease from 120 to 120 to 110. I believe it's this one. Maybe it's no, it's this one. It's this one right here. Yeah, the transport version. So this got cheaper for 35th and 56th, and then the Mi-8 went from 45 points to 40, continuing the trend of the 5-point buff. And then this standard kind of Mi-8 rocket without the 20% ECM dropped by 5 points from 100 to 95. The Su-27 got renamed to the AA-1. Just a little rename there. The 2A36 RD piece got price buffed from 125 to 115 points. So nice price buff for 27 artillery there. Let's see, the BS3. Is it this guy? Yeah, the price decreased from 100 to 60 for this RD piece. The D1 152 millimeter price went down, or the price increased from 80 to 85 points. So this guy got price increased. And then the D20 152 price decreased from 115 to 105. You can see that went down for both the East Germans and the Soviets. So just kind of fixing artillery pricing there, getting all artillery in line with the same price and everything. The Mista, this one, price decreased from 120 to 110, so that'll help 119th. Having better arty, a little bit cheaper. And then the Vedka BMP1. The price came down from 45 to 40 points, which is kind of interesting. So this is a cheaper recon vehicle now. BTR 70D. This guy had his price decrease from 35 to 30 points. So now it matches like the BTR 70, even though it has just one additional side armor. Just makes it a little bit specialer for 56Y. And then the GTMU SPG9 had its price decreased from 35 to 25. So now hopefully this can see some use because yeah, it was way too expensive at 35. Maybe at 25 makes it a little bit more compelling of an option, which I think it does. Pretty cool at 25 points. So with 157Y specifically, they're Let's see, we'll just hop into it real quick. We'll go over specific changes for each division. Only change here is their command unit here now has this this van that it can come in. Get the van to transport your 10 guys to all fit in the clown car. So that's cool. Military police clown car. And yeah, that's it for the Soviets. So yeah, let's go to the East Germans now. And the East Germans, similar to the Soviets, as we saw, the BMP won. This should be increased to 30 points, I believe. But it is not. That is interesting. Okay, work in progress. Maybe this changes, but I believe this should be increased to 30 points, right? Because we just looked at the Soviet one, and the Soviet one was... Let's just pull up a division that has it, you know. Compare it real quick. No, maybe not. Just looking at the base one, okay. Why does it not want to... Oh, because I'm looking at the same thing. I'm going crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Anyways, let's just stop that. BMP 1. BMP 1. This guy's 30 points. I was looking at the regular one, wasn't I? And yeah, the East German one has smoke, the Soviet one doesn't. Okay, yeah, so there's your 5-point difference. It all makes sense now. I was going crazy. Just ignore me. The one without the ATGM obviously should still be 25 points. But yeah, this comparison makes sense. We're all good. Can go back to the normal programming here. Just had to double check that. I was getting a little confused. So the T-34 for the East Germans got the health points increased from 8 to 10. So this is a little bit of a stronger tank now. You get some extra health points. No armor change, no price change or anything, but you get some extra health points. The Mi-8 rocket went down from 100 to 95 points, just like the Soviet equivalent. The Mi-8 also, you can see, went down from 45 to 40. Let's see, the Mi-8 Rocket 1. This guy went down from 100 to 95. I don't think the Soviet one changed with that, so that's a little bit interesting. Let's see our Soviet one. Yeah, no, the Soviet one is still at 100. So maybe that was a change that wasn't supposed to happen. Maybe someone got confused there. It is work in progress. But yeah, now the East German one is 5 points cheaper. Probably meant to just do this one and then got confused. Anyways, so yeah, that's interesting. That got changed for some reason. The Sokol, that's for Poland. We'll get there in a minute. Let's go back to the East Germans. The MiG-21 cluster. MiG-21 cluster. Where's my MiG-21 cluster? Hello? Okay, just don't want to pop up for some reason. Oh yeah, because I didn't have 6Y. That's why. Our MiG-21 cluster got the RBK 500 removed. So it has smaller cluster bombs now, which is going to be interesting. Because we'll have to see if this actually one-taps a heavy tank now, or if it, you know, struggles. But you can see that 303 still has the 500. But the East German 6 Y can probably, I'm gonna assume it probably doesn't one tap like a T80U anymore, or like an M1A1. So yeah, maybe only 303 gets that kind of special deleting unit now with the MiG-21 cluster. But yeah, obviously the price is gonna have to change on that if it's, you know, not that valuable anymore. So I'll have to see what happens with that. But that's a pretty big change. The MiG-23BN cluster. This guy right here got its price decrease from 220 to 200. And the MiG-23BN Napalm right here got its price decrease from 220 to 190. So just making these guys a little bit more efficient, you know. Obviously, you can see the Czechs have the same pricing structure going on. And then the Su-22 Mk4. Let's see the East German AT plane. Where is it? East German AT plane. There it is. This guy got price increased by 10 points from 220 to 230. The D20 152 got the same price as the Soviet one, which it got decreased from 115 to 105, so made the tow units a little cheaper there. And then last change really is the BMP-1 here got price decreased from 45 to 40, which is why I was a little confused with this change on the Soviet one, because the Soviet one gets smoke, right? So Soviet one should be 5 points more expensive, because the Resolute rate doesn't really change anything, and you also get a way better anti-tank missile on the Soviet one. So yeah, Soviet one should go back up 5 points. Maybe that was a change in error. For KDA specifically, their military police got added their military police got added a transport option. You can find KDA, there it is. So your guys here got the clown car as well. Can fit all 10 of these guys in this van. Very nice, very cool. But yeah, got a nice military police transport for this now, which should help with all the KDA that you bring in KDA. So, you know, hopefully that helps buff KDA a little bit. Going on to the Polish changes. Got a few here. The BWP, you know where this is going. The price got increased from 25 to 30 points. So all your BMP1s and BWPs got increased by 5 points. These were very efficient before. So that's very nice. Same thing happened with the Czechs. Don't worry. The Czechs got their BVPs increased from 25 to 30 as well. So it's everyone got affected. The Mi-8 for the Polish came down in price from 45 to 40 points, like all other Mi-8s. The Mi-8 rocket here also came down from 100 to 95. All right, so the Sokol got decreased from 45 to 40. And then here's a really cool change that I like to help kind of buff Corpus. Because Corpus, you know, pretty bad deck. But yeah, your Sokol AA got increased to 3 availability to kind of help with your AA shortcomings in Corpus. So, you know, you can get up to 6 of these now with pretty decent AA missiles. So that should help out with the AA situation of Corpus a bit. Have you a cooler helicopter that you can run around, use as support. Help protect yourself from other helicopters and planes maybe a little bit better. But yeah, it's a nice change there. Your MiG 21 bis AT plane had its avail increased to 3 from 2. This got added with the last patch, but it only had 2 availabilities. So now you get 1 extra availability if you want to bring this. It only comes in the 4th Descentoi, though. And then just like with the other divisions with the AT planes, the SU series went up by 10 points. And then to go back to specific corpus buffs or nerfs. The let's see, these guys got their avail decreased from 6 to 4. So now you can only bring 4 of these guys, which is pretty pain because this kind of was your AT in this deck because you don't really get good AT otherwise. Like you get the Metis and then everything else you have is just 14 pen and below. Even your Commandosi special forces. So yeah, that's a bit pain. I mean, I guess these guys have 18 pen, so you got to use your anti-tank guys. So this is your only other 18 pen. But yeah, there's your corpus nerf. You know, you get your Sokol buff, but then you get 2 less of your good recon guys. There's a price to be paid. The Dana got price increase from 215 to 230. I think it needed it. This is a very efficient, fast, mobile artillery piece, which has a 6 salvo length. Very, very good. So yeah, there you go. You get a little nerf there. Going to 4th Descentoi specifically, the military police got the little clown car added. So there you go. The same thing happened with the 20th Pancerna. And then one more change for Corpus. And then I promise I'll stop clicking on Corpus. But one more change for Corpus is in the artillery tab. I believe it's in the artillery tab. The 2S1M got its base veterancy increased from the experience 1 or experience 0 to experience 1. So this is now at the right vet. If you want to bring these guys. And another cool change, they added the MiG-21 bis bomber. So you actually have like a somewhat decent bomber in your tab now. Before you just kind of had to rely on this rocket plane, but now you actually have a bomber that you can use. So that's pretty cool. That should help out Corpus as well. And the tank slots got a little cheaper. One of the 3-point slots changed into a 1-point slot. So that should help with deck building as well. Have a few more activation points for something special. Now moving on to the Czechoslovakia. The BVP, like we talked about, has gone up from 25 to 30 points. Didn't escape the nerf. The Recon T-34 got its health points increased from 8 to 10. So this guy's has a little bit more strength now. The T-72S had its price decreased from 245 to 240. This is to match the one in 31st, which has the same 240 price. The Czech one was just 5 points more expensive, but they're the same tank. So there you go. They now match. The Mi-17 has come down by 5 points to match the Mi-8s. Same with the rocket version, coming down from 100 to 95 points. And then this guy got decreased from 100 to 95. So interesting. Only the Russian one is at 100. So maybe these are supposed to go down to 95, but they're just missing the one for now. The L39ZO I believe it is the HE one, yes, has had its price increased from 50 points to 60 points. The MiG-23 being cluster, as we talked about with the East Germans, came down from 220 to 200. The HE came down from 230 to 220. The napalm came down from 220 to 190. So that's helping out your first Tankova here, as all these come in first Tankova. And then the AT one came down, or the price came up from 135 to 145 now. It's a little bit more expensive. And then the SUAT went up by 10 points for 303. The rocket plane went down to 220 points from 250. And it also had its base availability increased from 2 to 3. So now you can get 3 of these. We'll talk about the drone again. The drone has less evasion. It also has less speed. Went from 800 to 500 kilometers an hour. So there you go, drone nerf. Hopefully not as strong anymore, because yeah, they seem pretty busted. Let's see. I believe these guys are 19th. I guess I can. Yeah, no, we'll go to the division that has them. I believe it's Zinesti. Not sure how to say this, but their avail got increased to 10 from 8 to 10. So 10, 7, 5. Can bring him in an OT64. Very nice. The Motostrelsi got their price increased from 35 to 40, which I'm a bit confused on this one, because their friend right here is 40 points, and for the exact same price, you just get a better AT on the one over here. So yeah, it's a bit confusing to me, but it is work in progress. Maybe that changes back. Dana, as we talked about, went from 215 to 230. And another change with the artillery is the 152 went from 110 to 100. And then there is a change with, oh wait, it's in here, I believe. I think is it this guy? EKH. No. What unit am I looking for? Is it this guy? Maybe it's in the tank tab? I think it might be in the tank tab. It's an AT gun. Oh yeah, it's this guy. Yeah, this guy came down in price from 100 to 75. So that's cool. And then the OT64 came, or no, 62B. This guy with the little coilless rifle up top, he got his price decreased from 30 to 25 points. OT64 did get changed, and it came down to from 30 to 25. I believe this one went from 35 to 30. Maybe it didn't change though, but either way, the one with the slightly worse gun got cheaper than its counterpart. And then last thing that happened is like the military police, which I guess we can just look at it. We'll just be we'll just pull up the division. But the military police and the division got a slightly cheaper military police car. I believe this was 25 before, now it's 20. You can also bring them in this if you want. But yeah, that's all the general changes overall. Now we're gonna hop into the new divisions, go through those. So we'll start with the one that I think is a little bit cooler, which is the 17th Guards. But you get a good logistics tab here. Um, it's standard 25-point supply truck. You get an armored supply truck if you really want it. A bit heavier supply. You can get 3 avail armored CVs here, 2 per card, or 3 per card, 2 cards. So that's pretty nice. The infantry, the new units here are going to be your KGB, which this is a really strong military police squad. Can come in the rocket helo, standard gas. But yeah, you get an RPOA with an RPG 22, 2 PKMs, and 9 AK 74s, so 11 strength. And it's military police. And it has the security trait, which means it gets good optics when stood still. So yeah, you can get 5 of these guys, goes 5-3. But yeah, very, very strong squad there. The other KGB squad can come in a cool BTR with a AGS on it, which is very nice already for fire support, or you can just bring in a regular BTR, but I take the AGS. It's pretty nice. But yeah, these guys are 8 strength, so a little weaker, but they don't have the RPO. They come with a RPG 22, an SVD PKM, and then 6 AK-74s. So still a strong squad, having the military police and the security trait as well. And then your KGB commander with the military police and the security trait with 7 AK-74s. And what makes this nice is you get the reservisty in this division as well with 3 cards. So yeah, you can kind of pair your KGB with your reservisty and actually, keep these guys buffed up. That way, also you can kind of buff these guys by upfitting them if you really want to. But other than that, we get the Commandantura, which I don't think you're going to need these because they're going to be kind of overshadowed by the KGB with the military police trait there. But you can get a BTR with the military police trait as well, which is pretty nice. You get your Polmachiki. Also comes in this armored transport, just like the standard reservisti. You have access to a Polmachiki card that actually has AT with it. We get a reservisti commando with 8 strength. You can get 3 of these guys, which is pretty nice. They also have AT. So pretty nice command squad here, honestly. I'd probably be taking that over the KGB leader just because it's cheaper. You get 1 more avail and you get AT with it. It's a pretty nice combination. But yeah, Reservist Sapuri. If you want to take those, you get a reservist flamethrower guy as well. Or just a standard Sapuri squad, which can come in a BTR 70, which is pretty nice. So yeah, you can decide, hey, maybe I don't want to go to the reservist route and take actually like your standard Russian squads here, or you can go the reservist route, take all your reservist squads, since you'll have these guys to kind of buff them. But you also get access to 2 cards of Motostroke BMP that you can take as well with the BMP 1, or the BMP 1 with the slightly better missile there. The big difference here is this one won't have smoke, but the BMP 1P will have the smoke. And then you have access to an SPG-9 squad as well. And that does it for your infantry tab. In the arty tab, you have the 82mm mortar, 120mm mortar, 122 arty piece, the Tulipin. Very, very nice. Animation has been fixed for this. So now this will fire correctly. You have access to a Malka, which is actually good because it has 3 salvo length, unlike the Polish Malka equivalent, which only has 2. So yeah, this will actually destroy stuff. So really good artillery piece. 152 mil, and then your BM-14, which has slightly bigger missiles than a Grad. It does have small range though. But yeah, this division gets pretty nice artillery tab. onto the tank tab, it gets a little interesting. So we get the Mayuka P, or the slightly better Falanga P, which has actually 20 pens, so it's similar to a Conquerors. I believe it doesn't have as much accuracy as the Conquerors. I'm not 100% sure on that though. We'll actually compare it just real fast because I am curious. 79th, I believe, gets a Conquerors, right? Yes. So let's just compare that with 17th. Where is that thing? Here it is. So, no, it does actually get the same accuracy, but the rate of fire is for some reason a lot faster, which is interesting. And the reload time is a lot faster on the Falanga P1. All right, so maybe it's slightly better. I guess depends on the missile speed. Obviously, the missile speed might be a little slower. Not sure. Haven't used the unit yet, so really have no idea. But yeah, that's pretty cool. You get 6 Veil on this as well. You can get a T10 MK command vehicle. 13 armor, no smoke or anything. It is reservist, which is kind of funny considering this is the command version. The command version is even reservist. Pain. But yeah, very interesting. And then the T10M comes at the lowest vet. It is reservist, but it does have a hard-hitting gun. It is fairly accurate at 50%. So that's nice to see, and it does have 2 KPVTs. It is heavily armored. It's not crazy fast, but it's still somewhat decent. It's a pretty interesting tank. You get up to 4 cards of these. Like, you can get 36 T10Ms. So that's a lot of armor there for 105 points. And yeah, if you're facing someone that doesn't have the best AT, like a Polish division or something, this can be an absolute pain, especially for someone like Corpus that's relying on 17-pin ATGMs and 14-pin handheld RPGs. Like, this is going to be just a wall of pain. So yeah, very interesting there. And if you want to upgrade to that, you can go the T64 route. And here's the command version, but the standard version, it doesn't have smoke, but it does have a slightly better gun. If we just compare the two, you can see that. Well, no, I take that back. It has a worse gun in terms of the pin and the HE, but it just has more accuracy. And obviously, you can upvet these guys, so you don't have to worry about like the massive accuracy debuffs and all that. But yeah, the pin is less, but the gun actually and the rate of fire and all that's going to be better. So it kind of depends on how you look at it. Also, the T10M, takes some suppression. The gun's gonna just be a lot worse than your T64R. So interesting comparison there. And then we also have an ISU in the tank tab, which has a massive HE gun, basically like a CEV, and it can also double as an RD piece. It is quite expensive. I don't really think it's worth the price, to be honest. I feel like this needs to be like, maybe like the equivalent price of the T10M, like 105 points, and then you just kind of, because it doesn't have smoke, it's hard to keep alive, it doesn't have the best armor. And the RD capability is cool and all, but like, I don't know. I'd rather use it as like a CEV, and I don't really see a place for it. But yeah, you can also get just a ton of T64Rs if you want to go that route. So yeah, this division is like the ultimate armor spam div. Moving on from there, though, we get an MI2 in the recon tab. You can bring a BRDM. You can bring the BTR-40A, which is nice because it can target helicopters. You got access to the reservist Razvedka. You can also come in this BTR-40, just like with 157th. Nice little 8-man recon squad there. We have access to the Soviet version of that with the price buffed BMP-1P that maybe should not be 40 points, but should be 45, so you can take advantage of that with this. You get access to the BRM-1K, and then a new squad, the Razvedka PVKGB. 8-man team does come double vetted up. Doesn't have AT or anything, but it is military police, and it does have GSR. So yeah, you are going to want to take this recon squad. Probably, use him as a fighting squad He does have good strength, but he is your only GSR in the division, so want to keep him somewhat safe. But it'll be good for getting targets with your artillery, since you got the Malkas and everything. But yeah, Strela 3, ZU-23, which is always nice to have, OSAs, which are very nice to have, good anti-helo, good anti-plane. Got access to a Strela 1, and then a Shilka. Very, very nice Shilka. Moving on to Helo tab, we just got some rocket helos here. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Just some rocket helos. And then the air tab, we got the MiG-23ML, which we've seen before, the little shotgun MiG. You get access to the slightly better one with the longer range missile, which is always nice. Only has 10% ECM though. And then we got a Su-17M4 rocket, which should be 3 avail. Again, this is a work in progress. But eventually this should be changed to a 3 availability rocket plane to match the one in like 27th and KDA, since they both have 3 avail there. We got the Su-17M4HE. Big bombs on this guy. It is a dive bomber as well. You have access to the AT plane, the HE/cluster. So this is like a dual strike one, which is also a dive bomber. So, you know, you can like go in with one pass with cluster bombs, take out a target that way, and then, you know, go back for some infantry with your HE bombs. So it is 285 points, but yeah, you can get 2 strikes out of this. So that's pretty cool. And then you got the TRM Su-17 with the ODAP bombs, which I believe the only other plane that has this is the one in 76Y with the Su-24 TRM. So yeah, you can now get you know, thermobaric bombs, lots of thermobaric bombs, which I'm a little confused now because let's look at the count here. We have 6, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Never mind, I'm an idiot. I thought I saw 8. So yeah, another 6. All right, it just looks like a lot of bombs there. I'm going crazy. All right, but yeah, you can get a TRM bomber here, and that's gonna do it for that. So you get you know, nice arty, nice infantry, a lot of light armor, and a good plane tab. But to move on to Durine. Anyways, you get some cheap logistics here. You can get 3 cards of really low supply there. Very nice card. AMX-13 Command, Alouette CV, TRM 10,000, M201 PC, or a Fuchs, and you have access to a FOB as well. On the infantry tab, kind of a lot of stuff we've seen before. So like you can get a command vehicle with a military police transport, which is interesting. Command military police, just like with the 17th military police here, which can come in their little military police P4. The gendarmes, which you know, have their 2 different military police options. You do get a cool little like blue VAB military police unit here. Sadly, it doesn't have 50 cal on it though. Standard command reservist squad, the reservisti. Seen these guys before, but they don't come in the cool VAB transport, unfortunately. Got access to reservist with the LRAC, which can come in the little AMX 1350 cal transport. So got that, and then you got the reservist with the FRF1, slightly better firepower, better, well, same AT rocket launcher, but just you're paying that 5 points for the FRF1, and then the no submachine guns. So yeah, this is by far the best reservist squad that you can get. Another command card with some smoke. You can also bring them in a 20 mil. Chasseurs, which also come with the autocannon transport, so that's pretty nice. Standard Jaeger command there with the 10 strength. Got access to your regular Jaeger in the Fuchs Milan. can get Jaeger with the Carl Gustav, standard Fuchs, and then the standard Jaeger with the Panzerfaust 44. You get 2 cards of that, and you can bring them in the Fuchs as well. So that's kind of your mainline infantry is all these Jaeger. And then your reservist FRF1, maybe bring in the Chasseur squad. Can maybe fit in a military police unit here to buff these guys. Not really sure. You have access to the reservist supper squad, which come with a LRAC and satchel charges. Kind of interesting there. Little dual threat squad. They are reservists though, but you can also take them upfitted. So there is potential. Standard Sapura squad with the nice little smoking AMX-13 VCG. Looks like a nice little model on that. Very, very cool. But yeah, come with the Sapper squad. Got the Flamer squad here, which can also come in that nice little transport. The M40A1 recoilless rifle, and then a Milan 1 team that can be brought in with the Fuchs Milan, and then a Milan 2 that can be brought with the Fuchs Milan. Moving on to the artillery tab, we got the 120 millimeter, got standard 105s, a 105 on a little vehicle, which we'll just compare real quick. You can see it's the same stats as the 105. You just get access to basically move them around. You also get direct fire if, for whatever reason, you need it, but only 25% accuracy. So yeah, you don't want to direct fire this thing. This is actually pretty nice. The Auto Motor 155. This is like the AMX off one, and the Toad one that you get with the new French division. They do fire pretty fast. Okay, just have a quick rate of fire on these. Sadly, it is reservist though, but at least you can upfit it, help it out a little bit. Yeah, it is a fast firing artillery piece, a little model, and then your standard 105 or 155, which you can see the direct comparison there. So basically same fire rate, just less ammo. And then you have access to the LRM. Nice little cluster party piece. Tank tab, we got some standard Milans, some Milan 1s on Jeeps. We got a Command AMX-13. Here's where your tanks come in. You get your AMX-13 T75 TCM with the SS11 on it with 19 pin, which isn't terrible. The accuracy is pretty terrible though. But yeah, this is a kinetic gun as well, 45% accuracy, 900 meter range. Very, very interesting. Not sure how I feel about this. I feel like you're going to run out of tanks pretty fast. But you can also get the slightly better one, which I believe just has... What was the main difference here? It wasn't armor. It was something with the gun. No, it's the accuracy on the missile. So the accuracy is 10% more on the one that's 5 more points. So there you go. That's your only difference there. But yeah, you can get 24 of those, or you can upfit them and get 16. Like that. Make it a little bit better. You get access to an M47 Dozer. Pretty cool little tank, but no smoke or anything. But good firepower. Nice armor at 10. Good for 65 points, I'd say. And then you have the Heimat M48s, which is kind of your main battle tank here with the smoke and everything. You can at least upfit these, which is nice. I don't think you can upfit them in TKS. So it at least gives you a little bit of staying power, because you do at least have like decent pin on these at 17. Good accuracy at 55. Good rate of fire. The upfit, I think, really helps it out. So, you can still get, like, you can even upfit this guy as well because he's not reservist. But, you can get a good amount of tanks in here. 37 tanks. Isn't too bad. And then you just have a command version. Under the recon tab, we got the AMX-10 VOA, exceptional recon, mediocre stealth. Seen this before. Get a BGS card, 2 BGS cards. If you want to really rely on those MP5A3s, sadly they are the militia trait though. If they weren't militia, I feel like this would be a really good squad, just because of the MP5s. But yeah, if you have another unit with it, the MP5 can be very deadly. Because the infantry will target that other unit before because of the threat level of BGS is not really high. But yeah, on their own in 1v1 fights, yeah, you don't really want these guys fighting. Then you have access to a standard Claire squad, the LRAC, M201 little Jeep with exceptional optics and good stealth. Alouettes, AML 60, AML 90 card, an M201 with a little recoilless rifle on it, which is interesting because this is like the first one in the recon tab. And it has good stealth and good optics, so like it's not terrible. And you can get 2 cards of it. So maybe this is actually something worth considering, to be honest. It's not too bad for sneaking along the flanks with good stealth. So that might be worthwhile. You can also just, forward deploy it and use it as an attacking unit at the start. So I think this is actually pretty useful. And then the Jaeger Aufklär, which you can bring in a, little recon Fuchs or just a standard Fuchs. But yeah, we've seen this unit before. The AA tab, got a Fliegerfaust, a card of Maxon, a 40 millimeter, which has terrible accuracy. A 30 millimeter. Pretty nice little gun AA. Does only have 6 avail though. Should probably go up to 9 availability. Cool new unit, the HTM M16, little half track. Giving me very much Steel Division vibes. But yeah, Maxon on a half track. Very cool. And then you get a card of IHawks too, so you don't have to worry too much about getting bullied by air. Even though your other AA isn't great, you can get 2 cards of IHawks, so shouldn't get air bullied. Does come in a big old TRM 10,000 as a transport as well. Helicopter tab, little rough. Get the Alouette AS11, which you've seen in 152nd. Get 2 cards of Gazelle cannons if you want to just bring 2 Gazelle cannons. And then the Beaupas. But yeah, the helicopter slot's a little rough. And then the air tab, which is very, very interesting. So we'll start with the Alpha Jet Napalm. Seen this guy before. We haven't seen the Alpha Jet cluster though. This guy actually has a pretty decent cluster loadout, I think. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Get 3 avail on those. Get 2 cards of Mirage 3E. Cheap fighter. This is very interesting to me, but it's the first 8 hit point seed plane, the Mirage 3E seed. The only thing I really don't like about this is it only has 20% ECM. So this seed plane is very likely to get shot down. But you at least get 3 availability for it. But yeah, the ECM is not great. The accuracy is not great on this missile. I honestly would just consider not even taking this. But it's there if you want to try it out, Then you also have access to the Mirage 3 EAT, which only has 8 hit points as well. So yeah, that's a bit rough considering some of the other divisions that have this missile setup and all that have at least a 10 HP plane. They may not have ECM, but they at least have 10 hit points. This at only 20%. You get hit once with a Kub or a Book or an IHawk, you're dead. You get the more cost efficient Mirage 2000 fighters now. So this guy, just show both of them off there. One has the shotgun setup. The other one has the longer range missiles. But these are new to this division, but they are priced according to the new kind of levels of the French fighters. So they're a little bit cheaper, which is nice. But yeah, the missile loadouts still aren't that great. Don't have a lot of missiles. You at least get access to a F4F AT, the better accuracy here, and the 10 hit points, 30% ACM. You have a little bit better of a chance of killing some heavy armor there. And then your Mirage 5F HE, which unfortunately has a really long reload time, but has a lot of bombs. So this is kind of your big bomber. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Sorry there were some areas of confusion in there and stuttering and whatnot, but tried to get through it. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one and have a nice day. Bye, guys.